T is for triage. Hey, it's Sarah. I'm back to talk to you about the business ABCs. This is just a little series to help people learn basic business skills and knowledge I wish I'd had when I got laid off in 2013 and started my freelance writing business. It turned out well, but only because I knew how to Google the heck out of everything, and there was a big movement online to just teach people everything about freelancing. And when we come to the letter T, T is for triage. And I say triage because if you want to freelance long term, you are going to have moments, if not hours or days, weeks, months, years, where everything is just too much. The anxiety, the pressure, things you have to do. If you want to do it long term, you have to learn how to manage those feelings and handle that anxiety, because otherwise it's just too painful and it won't be worth it. And so you have those days where just everything comes at you at once, at least once a month, all the structure and all the planning I have just out the window. And everything I've ever promised to do lines up all at once. And something in my brain says, if you don't do all of this right now, you will die. You will die. Now, I know it's not true because I've been doing this long enough. But for some people, when you get that and it's your first couple months in or your first year in, all the alarms start going off and you start to think maybe you weren't made for this. And I'm here to tell you, no, you just learn how to triage. So this is a phrase that I'm borrowing from our hardworking emergency professionals who actually deal with life and death and triage. So what they do is they assess what's coming in the door and they figure out what's urgent, what can be broken up, delayed. Now, in real triage, it's about breathing and blood. So they've got the ABCDE. It's like airway, breathing, circulation, disability, and exposure. And so they're checking for these things. For freelancers, I'm going to say that we should just have the 3 Cs. So on the day you wake up and it's just like, this to-do list is not organized. I feel like I'm going to die if I don't get all of this done. Divided into the 3 Cs. We've got cash, calls, and commitments. And that's it. We're just going to simplify the stress that's going on. And I pick these things because what's going on is like your externals overwhelm your internals. And we don't have a ton of control over internals. Like we're just going to feel how we feel. And that's fine. We're allowed to. But we do have control over those externals. So if we can organize those, triage those, figure out what's actually urgent and what isn't, that's going to bleed into the internals. And then we have a little more power to say like, oh, I'm freaking out. Maybe I just need to chill. So for cash, see, where is your cash flow and can your bills get paid? If so, you need to stand down and chill out because that's the only real emergency is if you're about to bounce a check or something. So literally when you sit down at your desk, I'm going to tell you to look at your monthly planner or your cash app or whatever it is you use to manage money and figure out where is the actual financial emergency? Is this a today problem? I'm going to remove all the judgment from that. Sure, I should have dealt with that earlier, but we're just going to deal with today. Is it a this weekend problem, next month problem? That's going to give us some clarity into if this is us actually overreacting and we can chill, or if this is something that we need to stop what we're doing and handle it immediately. Second, we're going to move to calls. Are you supposed to show up somewhere today or tomorrow or this week? If you are, can you? Are you prepared for that? Are you emotionally available for that? Are you going to show up and do what you promised to do, whether that's a deliverable or just interviewing or whatever it is that you need to do? If not, can you move it? Can you cancel it? Can you push it out? Because even if that's not ideal for whatever your situation is, that's way better than showing up unprepared or canceling last minute when the anxiety gets even worse. Especially since COVID and especially since having kids, I'm a lot more free about what I push back and what I cancel because I know that in the end, what really matters is having that call and having that call be really connective, not whether that call is specifically at a certain day or time. That's rarely a really high stakes situation. And then finally, C, number 3, commitments. Have you promised anything to anybody? Can you deliver on that promise to your standard? And if you can't, can you move it? Again, since COVID, since kids, I'm just a lot freer with saying, this week got ahead of me. I can't make this deadline. I'm sorry. I told you I would. I'm going to have it to you Monday. I've done that, once or twice a quarter for a really long time and nothing terrible has happened. And let me say, once you get through these 3 C's, everything else can royally pop off. If your stress level is in danger, if your health is in danger, tell everybody to chill out. That is the whole point of this freelancing thing, is to have more agency and control. And if we don't take that control, if we don't use that agency, then why are we doing this? Why are we putting up with the stress of it and everything? Now, of course, a big layer of this is like the emotional, what's that called? The state of your relationships. Obviously, if you are flippant about calls and deadlines and you're just unreliable, doing this frequently with a client is going to lead to some real consequences. But I think if you're here watching this video and you're worried about this, you're not the kind of person who's treating this stuff flippantly. I think you need to give yourself a break. It's really a lesson from having kids, being overwhelmed with chronic illness and all this stuff. In my happy place, I'm a control freak and my calendar is color coded and I am showing up early and doing everything great. But I just couldn't work that way once my life got bigger than me. It wasn't up to me anymore if I was in charge of stuff. And that was really hard to deal with. And it still is. But honestly, the more I've learned to surrender to what's happening, that's a really special keyword just for me as an Enneagram 8, where it's all about control. Once I learned to surrender and not resist what was happening and not use all my energy to just trying to make the world into what I thought it should be, whether that was as simple as getting a deadline done when it really was not reasonable for me to get it done, or as big as, building a certain kind of product and having it not be as successful. Once I learned to stop pushing my energy against that kind of stuff and letting myself go with the flow, huge, wonderful things started happening for me. So, this is going a little off tangent, but depending on what your Enneagram type is, surrender might not be the word for you. So anyway, that's the ABC for today. T is for triage. When you're having those overwhelming feelings, you're not alone. It really does come for us all, whether you've been doing this 1 year, 5 years, or 10. So thanks for sticking with it. As you know, like and subscribe if you think this should keep going. I'm probably going to keep doing it anyway, but it would be really nice if people like it. So stick around for cat videos, and I'll see you next week.